If you want to make a great movie, don't try and appease a small group of people. Make a great movie.
Yeah.
So they made a movie about war.
Долгие годы в нашем мире царил покой. Но его дни сочтены. Я это чувствую.
So one of the biggest challenges early on an aesthetic level was how do we take this almost sort of comically oversized armor and these characters with their huge bodies and their little heads and turn that into something that works in the real world.
Единственный шанс уцелеть — сделать эти земли своим домом.
It was still a good film, you know. These guys have seen that 3D version, it's so immersive. But even back then, when you could still see us in grey pajamas going, it still was such a well-made film, you know. That's the testament to Duncan.
Hi guys, my name is Brian Riggle. I'm here at the press junket for Warcraft. Come watch me as I interview some of the cast members and the director, Dankan Jones. When you guys are watching yourselves on there, is there like moments when you feel like you entrance yourselves?
For me, it's very easy. Obviously, I've got Durotan's skin over my performance, so it's much easier.
To see Paula again. I miss that green Paula with fangs.
I mean, because Garona looks different, it is. I mean, you kind of recognize yourself, but it did feel. I mean, watching this movie in general was unlike ever any other experience I've had watching a movie I've been in, because I hadn't seen how it all would look, you know, and I do look different from her, and so in some ways that was fun because I was able to watch like an audience more, and I was blown away. I thought our director Duncan did a really incredible job. I was just very thankful to be in it.
Yeah. Was there any like fun moments or like unique or interesting things that happened on set that you guys didn't expect?
It's always funny watching a lot of actors on horses.
Yeah.
I think it's always funny. Everybody swearing at the horse.
The really fun stuff, they're not going to tell you. That's the truth. There was a lot of fun things that you can't
As
say.
a blend with that, Clancy Brown had to do a scene where he's riding a frost wolf, and yet it was just this sort of rolled up something on a big spring, and Clancy's such a huge, lovable human being, and he's hilariously funny. And so he's doing this very powerful scene, and then he just rode off and he just goes, rah, rah. So, I mean, it was just, there were silly moments, but you know.
Для орков нет жизни, кроме войны.
Они звери. Их всех следует уничтожить.
As actors, what was like the most challenging element of playing your guys' characters?
Working with Ben Šnetcer was.
I know. And I'm like, this is the first time I've actually ever spoken to
Rob. Usually I just speak via an intermediary.
Exactly.
So, they force us to do this. There wasn't. We've been asked this question a couple of times.
Okay. Oh man.
And you know, boy, I know. Can you imagine? And the truth is, and the only thing that I can honestly say is there wasn't anything difficult. It was the most fun and free and creative set I've ever set foot on.
So I mean, obviously you guys had a lot of fun playing these characters. What was it like when you guys first found out you guys are getting cast for these characters?
It was a trip. It was exciting. It was nerve-wracking.
Did you know what you were getting into?
No idea. I had no idea what I was read the script? I had read like log line. I hadn't read the script.
Right.
Yeah.
Duncan is what really sold me on it.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of his, and had a killer chat with him, and he, to a great degree of depth, really like broke down his vision for it, what he wanted to bring to the story, and I got excited about it. And as soon as I kind of got the phone call, I just felt like, let's do it. Like, let's go. I was ready to go.
I mean, tell me about Like, what was the process to getting this film made as a WoW fan?
So there was a long process of working on the costuming and the design and aesthetics of what Stormwind, the city, would look like, and all of these things to make that translation into a real world environment. And one of the biggest challenges with the orcs themselves. You know, how were we going to do them? Were we going to use prosthetics, or were we going to do it a digital way? And the way we ended up going was working with ILM, this amazing special effects company, and getting them to motion capture our actors and allow that performance to be our orcs.
В этом месте таится великая мощь.
What was the main factor for deciding to use motion capture and performance capture rather than doing prosthetic?
I needed to be able to hold a close-up for like 10, 15 seconds. If that was a guy in rubber makeup, you're just not going to buy it. You know, his face doesn't move. You know, when you put prosthetics on, they can be great for monsters. They're great for sudden scares. But to hold an intimate moment where someone's trying to communicate something really deep down, you need to be able to really see the actor. And the wonderful thing about facial motion capture these days is the detail is so good, you can capture every nuance and understand what the character's trying to say.
Ты на стороне людей против нашей расы.
Это самоубийство.
Я пойду с тобой.
Мы защитим королевство. Вместе.
Попытаемся, друг мой.
How important was it for you guys to justify, like, this film for WoW fans? You know, I'm not, I guess justify is the wrong
It
word,
was vitally important to me.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm one of them. And so, you know, I know what the film had to be. I know where it needed to sit, and I know what we expect and we demand. We've been playing this game for 20-odd years. We demand something good. Given $10 billion to Blizzard, we want something good. Thanks very much. So there was an enormous demand upon what this film had to be. Yeah. But at the same time, to make the film that players like myself wanted, you actually had to just make a damn good film. Yeah. And that meant, you know, making a film that was not so convoluted as the original lore was, and making something that was actually more accessible to a wider audience.
Very key elements of each character that you see, like very intimate moments that the audience is going to have with each character.
Yeah.
How important was that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important because the whole setup of the movie is you have these two different cultures that have never met before coming into conflict, basically because the orcs have nowhere else to go. Yeah. Their home has been destroyed. They need to find a new home. They move to this world of Azeroth, and there's already, you know, there are already people there. Yeah. So the conflict is going to happen, and there's no way to escape it. But I wanted the audience to understand what's going on from both sides. So you spend as much time with the humans as you do with the orcs, and when you're with the orcs, you understand what their problem is and why they have to find themselves in this battle.
Я кое-что почувствовал. Темную силу.
There's a moment when you see sort of the language barrier between the humans and the orcs. Yeah. And in this, it's very, it transforms into just one language, and it's so subtle the way you guys do that.
You know, when I was working on Warcraft, we are going to have this language barrier. How do we play with that and use it? And there's a couple of moments in the film where humans and orcs are trying to communicate, and there is this character Garona who actually is able to translate from one to the other. Yeah. And we play around with that. But that was certainly an inspiration for what we did in some of the scenes.